What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast, your home for the NFL draft and, in particular, the NFL mock draft season. It's the three of us. It's who you get every single time you go to YouTube. It's your favorite mock drafters. It's the ones who every one of our picks is probably going to be right. Just go ahead and
Yep.
mark it
One
down,
apiece.
bet some money on it. Okay? We got Addison, we got Bobby. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing damn good, man. Free agency has done me justice, at least. And honestly, I bet Bob feels the same way.
Yeah, been a great free agency so far. So excited to see what these teams look like, after some of the acquisitions they've already had. So I feel like this mock draft will look a lot different than the past few have, and it just means
Yes.
we're getting closer to that time of year. So
Yeah, my team spent $10 million on Liam Eichenberg and Zach
What,
Wilson, so I
what?
don't have a lot to say. I don't have a
Yikes.
lot to say.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
He
bad
got
for
4
Colin
million.
too.
Real quick, mock draft fans, I'm so sorry. Liam Eichenberg got $4 million from us for one season. That makes me want to jump off the nearest bridge. Okay, moving on. We're gonna do just one round today. No draft or no trades here. First pick for Tennessee, I think, has become abundantly clear to me. Like without a single shadow of doubt, the way that they can sit there and they can lie to you with their words. Owners can. They cannot lie to you with their money. And the Tennessee Titans have spent their money in preparation for bringing in a new quarterback. It's not Will Levis, guys. He's not the answer. Sorry, Titans fans who are holding out for a hope that it maybe is him. It's just simply not. It's going to be Cam Ward out of Miami. He's the guy. They're building up the offensive line. They paid Dan Moore $21 million a year to be their left tackle. I didn't even know. I like to think I follow football closely. I did not know who Dan Moore was. Not a single clue. And he got 20 plus million a year from them. So interesting use of cap space from Tennessee, but I like that they're building the wall in front of their quarterback. They brought in Kevin Zeitler as well. You moved J.C. Latham over to the right side. You paid Lloyd Cushenberry to be your center. You've got 5 quality starting offensive linemen now. So you've built the wall. You'll figure out the weapons. I think Cam Ward, pick number 1, is pencil it in, man. Pencil it in.
Yeah, completely agree at this point. It's just everything people are saying about Tennessee is that they're starting to fall more in love with Cam Ward, and I can see why watching his tape. I think he's put himself well above the rest of the quarterbacks in this class.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think he's going to be a stud, and even coming to the AFC South, I love him as a player, so love the pick there. With the second pick, I got the Browns. I think there's really obviously two ways they can go, but at the end of the day, a guy that I personally trust a little bit more is just going to be Abdul Carter. I think it's never a bad thing to get another edge rusher pair next to Myles Garrett, and hopefully by the time Abdul Carter his contract is up, you can decide what you're going to do with Myles Garrett. Just kind of replace him, and solidify that defensive line for the future. So.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. Again, people are going to be like, oh, they just paid Myles Garrett. Okay, who's rushing alongside Myles Garrett? I'm sorry. I didn't know you could have too many good edge rushers. I must have missed that memo. Like, okay, great. Give me 2 excellent edge rushers, and then Abdul Carter is as young as he is and is only going to get better. And then Myles Garrett can't play forever, and eventually they're going to get out of that contract as he gets older and his production dips. And then you've got somebody right there ready to go. I completely agree with the Abdul Carter pick here.
Yeah, I mean, what a combination! Like you guys both just said, and Myles Garrett can help him learn. If
Yes.
anything, if this guy needs to develop as the pass rusher that people say he could turn into, Myles Garrett's a great guy to be getting help from. Moving on to number 3 here for the New York Giants. The way free agency's played out, are they feeling sort of handcuffed? Maybe they have to take Shador, even if they don't love him. I'm
They
gonna
might.
go that they do. I'm gonna go that they do take Shador Sanders at 3. Pains me to pick him here because I don't think he's worth this spot, but he's a quarterback. And if the way that it's looking right now, your options are Russell Wilson, maybe Aaron Rodgers. I think you have to just say, screw it. We're gonna go with the young gun and Shador Sanders and see if he can be this guy that can process and break down defenses pre-snap so he knows where the ball's going. So I'm going to go Shador Sanders, pick number 3, quarterback market dried up right in front of their eyes, and they sort of get forced with the rookie.
Yeah, they tried to swing on Matthew Stafford, and it sounded like everything was a go, and then Stafford at the last minute was like, just kidding, I do not want to go play there. And if you're the GM and the head coach of the Giants, right, Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, you can look at this 2 ways, right? You take Shador Sanders, you might buy yourself a little extra time in your positions because you can say, we have a young quarterback, give him time, give us time. Don't change horse in the middle of the stream, a famous
Yep.
FDR quote. But if you go the veteran route, if you bring in an Aaron Rodgers for a single season or a Russell Wilson for a 1-year deal, you are all coaching and general managing and playing for your jobs because it's all in on this 1 year. And if you're the Giants coach and GM, do you really think this year with a Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers that you can win the Super Bowl? Because I don't see that roster doing it. So I think you have to try and buy yourself more time. And I think Shedeur Sanders does that personally.
Not even make the Super Bowl. I think it's just compete in that division because you've got Washington and Philly there. And then, like you said, if you get that quarterback, you're throwing your helmet in the ring and you better be ready for the consequences. I think the rookie quarterback, you can put yourself there like Washington did last year, or, you could have maybe win 7 games and go, there's promise that Shedeur can take another step. Like you said, we can stay here another year and continue to grow.
I can see them even drafting Shedeur and then coming back and just picking up someone like a Jacoby Brissett, just a reliable guy and come in
I
and
think he
kind of
signed
teach him the
somewhere.
rope. Oh yeah, he signed with the Cardinals. Duh.
Yeah, he did.
But a reliable backup. There's plenty of them out there.
Anyone, yeah.
Plenty of them out there. Agreed. New England on the clock here, and that made it a little bit of an easier pick for me. Although I think this is one of the rare instances where I'm gonna make Travis Hunter more of a wide receiver than a corner. So I'm gonna take Travis Hunter here with the plan that he's Drake May's new #1 wide receiver. That's the one thing. The Patriots have spent a ton of money this offseason, and the only receiver they've brought in is Mac Hollins. I'm sorry, that doesn't move me even a little bit. Mac Hollins is a career journeyman that is best known for not wearing shoes and being really tolerant of the cold. So if that's your #1 guy, I don't trust that process at all. Travis Hunter is elite on both sides of the football. If you want to play him at corner, okay, you have the best young corner duo in the NFL and Christian Gonzalez and Travis Hunter. I think you take him and you say, we're going to play wide receiver. And if we're in a pinch and we're totally screwed and we need a corner, you're going to learn the cornerback position too. And we might run you out there and you may play both ways for a little bit. If he can do it, fantastic. I think you give it a shot and you take him for the upside here.
Yeah, like Drake May is not the guy yet to say, I'm going to elevate everybody on this roster. So you got to give him some help. Let him become that guy. Travis Hunter being a weapon definitely gives him a better chance to become that.
Agreed.
Yeah, love the pick. Jags on the clock here. I think you just got to go get a weapon to pair with BTJ. Give me Teteroa McMillan, wide out of Arizona. I think that's the kind of guy that at the end of the day, Trevor Lawrence loves to throw to. I think pairing 2 young weapons together just makes that offense extremely scary, especially Cohen coming over, a guy that's had great weapons there before. Just think you add to that room and get Lawrence as many weapons as you can to help him be successful. So
agreed. I know that setting player comps is setting unrealistic expectations for a lot of guys, but I mean, Teteroa McMillan's style of play is similar to Mike Evans. So you get the former OC for Mike Evans this past season, and he's the new head coach, and now you've got 2 absolute star wide receivers for Trevor Lawrence. I'm curious, did you consider Tyler Warren at all here?
no, I didn't.
Okay.
I think that
it is early for him.
It is a little bit early. I think McMillan just gives him more of an outside threat. I think that they can find a reliable tight end over the middle that can help. I think Lawrence is accurate enough to make a decent tight end good. A guy like Goddard, I know, might be getting shopped right now. I think there's still some tight ends on the market as well that they could come up and try to, at least pick up to make it serviceable. And I think who's the guy from Penn State they drafted? Is it Strange?
Strange, yeah.
Strange, yeah. I think he's decent enough as well. I mean, realistically, he'd be a tight end 2 a lot of places and can be a serviceable enough tight end 1 if you pair someone along with him. So
okay. All right. I was just curious. I was wondering.
Yeah. I think Warren at least will be a discussion with Evan.
For sure.
Let go. Well, but I like McMillan there just because it's the outside target. You pair him up with BTJ and you run with the #1 and 2. You look at the Bengals. They've got 2 great receivers and an average tight end, and they make it work offensively.
Well, and Cone came. They didn't have it when the Buccaneers didn't have elite tight end play, I would say as well. So that's another reason he knows he can get it done with outside guys. So
yeah,
great point. Good pick.
On to the Raiders here. Getting Geno Smith in the trade with the Seahawks just completely nicks any quarterback for them in this beginning of the draft, at least maybe a flyer late. I think this one is my favorite new pick that's penciled in. I think this is Ashton Genty immediately. Pete Carroll, you get Geno. Well, let's get the running back room figured out immediately with the best running back in the class, and Ashton Genty, and you're trying to win. And with the Raiders hiring an old coach, trading for an old quarterback, you are trying to compete right now. Austin Genty makes your offense better, and you have to be able to score points in the NFL. I think Austin Genty and Pete Carroll loves to run the football as well. So Ashton Genty to the Raiders, I think might be a lock in my mind. I could be wrong. Raiders fans, let me know what you think about that. But I think it's almost a lock, especially because you're trying to win. Genty helps that big time if he is able to produce even close to the level he did in college.
Agreed. And no disrespect to Pete Carroll. It's not like he's got a long road ahead of him, right? He's 73 years old.
Yeah, I mean, what if 7 years? He's 80, and that's
win.
a long time. Like,
and Ashton Genty, of the players available, probably provides the most value to your team right away. He instantly is RB1 on your team, and he's probably almost a lock to go over 1,000 yards. Well, close to double digit. Like he's the most impact day one guy available to them at this point in the draft.
I would love to see Mason Graham next to Max Crosby, though. That would be
and
just
Christian Wilkins. That'd be nasty.
True.
That'd be probably.
I think that's the other.
If
both of those guys there,
yeah,
it's probably not a sprint to the podium. There's a conversation.
Yeah, agreed.
And we see the video of it, in a month when Genty's going crazy, and it's like this is the war room video footage when they pick their guy.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that too. New York Jets at pick 7 here. And I don't want to make this pick because it's the right pick, and it makes me sad because it's my favorite player in the entire draft class. It's Armand Membou. You look at the Jets' offensive line, they have a future left tackle in Olu Fashanu. They've got their interior offensive line figured out with Elijah Vera-Tucker, John Simpson, and then their center, whose name escapes me at the moment, but he's a solid center. You don't have a right tackle. Morgan Moses played that role. He signed somewhere else. You do not have a right tackle right now. I think you draft Armand Membou, and you're like, we have built a wall in front of whoever plays quarterback for us. Who that will be, I don't know.
Joe Tippmann, I believe, is the center.
Joe Tippmann, that's it. That is it. Thank you. Yeah, so you've got 4 good offensive linemen, but you do not have a right tackle. I think you just complete the wall. There's no quarterback here that I'm taking. You've still got guys like Garrett Wilson. You've still got Breece Hall. You've still got a really good defense. Just finish building the wall. Just give yourself the best chance to win games, and I think that's through the trenches. So I'm going to go Armand Membou here at pick 7.
Yeah, I love the Membou pick, and Justin Fields getting acquired by the Jets, I think stops any quarterback, even if maybe Shador has fallen to this point. I think they're out on QBs, and I like the Membou pick maybe even more than Mason Graham, just because what was Justin Fields' problem in Chicago was that the offensive line was terrible, and he never really had a shot. Well, let's make sure that he has a shot here, and I love the pick Membou for the Jets because you got to protect Fields, and you signed him to decent money, so he's the guy. He's the guy for the next 2 years.
Yeah, agreed.
Man, this is crazy. Panthers on the clock here at 8. It's just disgusting to me that Mason Graham's fallen this far, but the Panthers did just sign Wharton along with. They're set on the D line. Give me Jahdae Barron. I think he's the best cornerback and DB available in this class so far. A guy that can make plays all over the field. I think he can play really wherever you need him to. And just an elite player overall. So I'm going to be taking Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas.
I like that. I still think, they've got pieces there, and then him and J.C. Horn together would be just a nasty duo.
Disgusting, yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
The signing, Bob, you said it, of Stewart, I think stops Mason Graham from becoming a 3-headed monster there, just because you've put so much money into your D tackle position already. You don't want to stunt Mason Graham as well by not giving him the right amount of reps. It's a tough pass. But I think Saints fans are grinning ear to ear, and Bears fans are crying because Mason Graham getting drafted at 9 would just break my heart to see him that close.
So close.
I'm taking Mason Graham to the New Orleans Saints. They need D-line help everywhere. You get maybe the best D lineman. Well, he is the best D lineman in the draft. Maybe just the best D lineman player, including edges in general. I'll put him up there in the Abdul Carter area. I think Mason Graham's going to come in and be day one, immediate impact player. I get the size. Maybe it's a concern. And I know Aaron Donald's the easy comp, like throw out size wise. Well, Aaron Donald was small. It's like they're not the same. And not everybody is a Hall of Fame first ballot, gold jacket kind of guy. But Mason Graham's definitely going to be very good as a rookie, and the Saints are going to benefit from drafting an elite player.
Agreed. I got to tell you, I'm kind of in a pickle on who to take for the Bears, man. RB.
I'll just say this. I'm so glad PFF now has safety on their needs because I've been screaming it.
I know, and I want to – that makes me think, like, Malachi Stark's not a bad option here for that defense. not a bad option. It's a little early than I think we've often had him mocked, but you got to get a safety. You need one. Jaquan Brisker missed a ton of time last year. Kevin Byard's old. I don't even know. Is he still there technically?
He is there, but he's
Okay.
old, man.
He is
And he
old. I
played
think.
fine last year, but it's like you're old, so we gotta.
Right. And they just signed Doye Oyedigbo from the Colts.
Yeah,
So you don't
Dio
really.
Yeah,
Odangbo.
Dangbo.
Thank you.
Dio Odangbo. Yep.
I did not have it in front of me. I just want the internet to know that. I was
Don't
not
make
trying
that
to read it.
face.
I would just go off memory. I'm going to go Malachi Starks. I like the fit in that defense. I think he's a super versatile piece. It's been offensive line, and they fixed it. Like, I know maybe Braxton Jones isn't the ideal left tackle. He's fine. He's not a bad left tackle. He's just not maybe a great left tackle. But your other 4 positions are rock solid. I think you can afford to go with a different position here, and I
What do you
like
feel
the
about
options.
Warren being here?
Yeah,
Would
see,
you
that's
take
how I was
So I
gonna
Warren?
thought
ask
about
you.
Warren. That was the other one I was debating, was between him and Tyler Warren.
That's interesting.
With Cole Kmet, I don't know how much time he has left on his contract.
It's
If there are any
not.
Bears fans,
I
love
think
to
it's
hear your
maybe
thoughts
3
on
years. Yeah, 2 years. I think Warren is interesting. If he's there, I think he'll be a guy just because Ben Johnson loves his 12 personnel
Yeah.
as well. And you could almost put Warren at times in the slot, if it came down to it, where if he's that big of a playmaker, we could potentially move him around the field. I like Malachi Starks, though. I don't think Will Campbell or a potential backup guard, if it's not Membu, who's a guaranteed tackle, I don't know if we take an offensive lineman here just because you're not drafting a guy at 10 to be backup.
No.
I'm sorry. You're just not.
You need impact.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. And then, I think the 49ers are as happy as can be here. Will Campbell.
Yeah.
Easy.
Sold.
Yeah. Not much. I don't. Yeah.
Not a whole lot to add there.
No.
Potential tackle, potential long-term tackle, if not long-term guard, and they need both.
Yeah.
They need both.
Easy. That's I feel like 49ers fans should be very happy with that pick.
Agreed. Yeah, his breakdown's really solid. And we'll hear more about him in the coming days when I get out my offensive line rankings for the entire draft class. I'll be coming out in the next week or so. So make sure if you're not already subscribed that you are, because that is an in-depth breakdown. Will Campbell's pretty damn good. We'll just throw that out there.
Yeah. Moving on to the Cowboys here. Finally making some signings, but nothing crazy of substance in my mind. I think they're happy because it's pick of the litter for edge rusher. And I'm gonna go Mike Green for Marshall. I think Jerry Jones is gonna fall in love with the small school story, even though D1 still smaller than the big boys. But I think Mike Green to the Cowboys will be the first edge off the board, and that's gonna be Schottenheimer's first pick as head coach of the Cowboys. All the pretty weapons, really. And I know Tyler Warren maybe, but they have tight end figured out really at the moment, and it's just like there's so many other holes that we can't go Warren, even though he would probably be the best tight end immediately on that team. But give me Mike Green for the edge piece to the Cowboys after losing Lawrence.
I like that. I think you definitely have to address edge, and you just go with your favorite one. And Mike Green had a fantastic season, just no question about it. And I do think, I know production in college isn't all that, but man, it's hard to overlook the fact, Shemar Stewart tested fantastic at the combine. He averaged a sack and a half a season.
Yeah.
Get home, please. There's something to that. I don't care about the production that much, but I want to see it done once or twice, right? And he literally didn't do it twice in a single season. So take that for what it's worth, people watching this. Miami on the clock here at pick number 13. And I'm between 2. And I'm going to, we haven't signed a single corner. I'm between a few here. I'm trying to think of what Miami would do, not what I would do, because what I would do with this pick is probably Walter Nolan. That's what I would do. We don't have an interior defensive lineman outside of Zach Sealer. He's the only one on the roster. So that's what I would do. That's not what Miami's going to do because they don't like to build the trenches, which is really stupid. Still need a guard, but you just paid Liam Eichenberg $4 million. That's not backup money, guys. We plan to start you money, which means I plan to kill me money. I think I'm going to take Tyler Warren. I think I'm going to give Tyler Warren to Miami here. I know you've got Jonnu Smith for one more year. Tyler Warren is super versatile. You take a tight end of this caliber and you drop him in the offense, and he's a difference maker. He can block, he can run, he can catch, he can do everything. I think Tyler Warren is an excellent player all around, and he could go much higher than this. I don't think he could go a whole lot lower than the next pick. So I want to see where Bobby pivots to with the Colts here now that I've taken Tyler Warren away from you.
Even if Tyler Warren was here, I might have still taken this guy. Give me Jihad Campbell, pick
Great
14,
pick.
linebacker out of Alabama. EJ Speed is a free agent. Zaire Franklin talks a lot of trash, but he's just good for making tackles. Jalen Carlisle did come on when he was healthy last year, but at the end of the day, Lou Anarumo's defense, you need difference makers at the second level. I think Jihad Campbell is a special athlete, special talent, and can really do it all, be an elite young talent in this defense, which we are really, really lacking. And at the end of the day, our defense has been disgustingly poor for the past couple of years. I think tight end production is scary, but I do think there's depth at tight end later in this draft. Mason Taylor is a name that I would absolutely love to come back and take later, anyone like that. So give me a guy that I think is the best linebacker in this draft. I think he's versatile. Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama.
Spoiler alert, he is the best linebacker in this class.
Yep.
Yeah.
No question.
Bar none, really. On to the Atlanta Falcons here at 15. Now, this is a tough one. I know edge is the easy pencil in. You know, they need edge, and it's an Atlanta Falcons move to draft a freak athlete at that position. Luther Burden is sitting right there, though, as well.
Wouldn't hate that.
It's tough. I'm going to go Luther Burden. I'm going to say we drafted Mykel Penix. We gave him the reins. Let's invest in him a little bit more. Obviously, the offense has a bunch of tools, a bunch of weapons everywhere you look, but let's add another one and make defenses have to look at him too. And it just takes a little bit pressure off of everybody's shoulders on that offense. And Drake London and Luther Burden as the 1-2, with maybe like Mooney still being an impact player as the worst of all of their weapons, gives Atlanta just a lethal offense. And I know Edge is right there. James Pierce is right there, but we drafted the rookie. We handed him the keys to the car. Let's give him an even better car. Let's upgrade it a little bit. So I'm going to go Luther Burden from Missouri to the Atlanta Falcons.
And let's be fair, like, we're trying to predict what we think these teams are going to do. And the Falcons last year at pick 8, it was locked in edge rusher. Take the best edge rusher. That's what they've got to do it. They don't have anybody to rush the passer. And they went quarterback. So this is not a shock to me. I think Luther Bird's a fantastic football player. I think he should be even higher than this. I really believe he's going to be a rock star in the league. And the Falcons, I don't see why they wouldn't do this. I would like this move a ton, but everyone thinks they're going to go edge, and that's when they just don't go edge. That's just when they don't do it. So I like that pick a lot to Atlanta. Arizona on the clock here at pick 16. I think there's a handful of options for them here. They did just, they signed Josh Sweat, so that takes away really the need for an edge rusher. I'm going to go corner. I'm going to go Will Johnson out of Michigan. Just too good to still be available. Really like him in Jonathan Gannon's style of defense. Think he could be a real problem on the outside. Would love to get the tape of him versus Marvin Harrison Jr. every single practice. I mean, talk about iron sharpening iron.
Yeah, for real.
You need a number one corner in that defense, and here you go. Will Johnson falls because people are worried that he's not that fast. Whatever.
Okay.
Give me Will Johnson.
Yeah. All right.
That's two elite playmakers for the Cardinals, like you said. I think Bengals are smiling right now. I will say, I think Trey Hendrickson is going to be a Bengal going into next season. I think the asking price is too high for trade, along with the contract for an older pass rusher. With that being said, though, I do think they attack the defensive trenches. A guy that I like that is going to be an interesting pairing with him. One guy will be more speed paired with his power is going to be James Pierce Jr., edge out of Tennessee. I think the production was there, along with the athletic traits as well. Only thing, he comes in a little bit light, more of a speed guy, but I think over time, hopefully he can develop that heavy set power that he needs for bull rushes and so on. So
great pick. James Pierce is awesome.
Yeah, James Pierce is definitely awesome.
Yeah,
and Trey Hendrickson, if he's not gone this year, he's gone next year, right? You assume.
Right.
Can't just give everybody money, even if Burrow says all their names on first take.
Yeah.
On to the Seattle Seahawks at pick 18. This one's interesting. I know receiver after losing DK, you brought in Sam Darnold. Are we just gonna only give this guy Jackson Smith and Jigba to throw
and Cooper
to?
Kupp and Cooper Kupp
And Cooper Kupp, that's right. I guess they did.
Him and Jackson Smith and Jigba play the same position. They're both slot receivers. Makes no sense.
Yeah, that's true. But I just don't know if I look at Egbuka or Golden as a big time guy on the outside.
Yeah,
So and Cooper Kupp getting signed, I think that probably takes away the receiver in round one, unless somehow, some way McMillan's here, but that would be batshit crazy.
that'd be nuts.
Um, mm, this is a tough one. I'm thinking maybe Tyler Booker is at least in the conversation here, just because best guard. But I'm gonna go Donovan
Yeah,
Ezeiruka, from
Ezeiruaku.
Boston College. My bad, my man, on your
That's
last
good.
name. My boy Nate's got it. Um, but I'm gonna go the edge from Boston College.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, great pick. Very talented edge rusher. They need edge help for sure.
yeah,
I think that's a really good pick for Mike McDonald's defense. And I agree, like receivers, okay, who's the best receiver on the board right here? You can argue Matthew Golden or Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka plays the same exact spot as
yeah,
Jackson Smith and
exactly.
Jigba Cooper Cup. And you
Yep.
just invested all of this in your wide receiving core. I don't think they go that way. I agree. I think edge rusher is the most important pick here. Teams just don't value the guard like they should. Personally, I
Yeah.
think they should value it way more, but they don't. They value edge rushers. And Ezeiruaku put up crazy numbers last year for Boston College. Super under the radar. I mean, he was a true elite grade for PFF. Really solid against the pass and not bad against the run either, with an 83.6 grade against the run. Like he was damn good all around, man. I think he's gonna be really solid. Yeah, I like that pick. Tampa Bay on the clock here. I'm gonna go with a positionless player. Almost. I'm not even sure if he's in edge or if he's in linebacker. I think he's probably in linebacker. I'm going Jalon Walker out of Georgia. Yeah, he's in linebacker. Okay. Oh, they've moved him up to 30. That's good. This is a guy. I mean, they need edge and linebacker, so this guy can do a little bit of both for you. If you want him to edge the rush the passer, okay. I disagree. I don't think that that's what he's built for. I think he's a really solid offense off the ball linebacker. But if Todd Bowles thinks he can get something done with him, then fantastic. He had a really solid pass rush grade in his attempts as a pass rusher, but I don't know, man. I like him as a linebacker, and I think just I hate to be cliche, but it's like a Swiss Army knife on your defense. So I'm gonna go Jalon Walker out of Georgia here.
yeah, I love the pick. Really versatile guy. With the Broncos, I think they're smiling because Kenneth Grant is there. I think he's a stud prospect, but I'm gonna have them taking Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. I
Yeah.
think that is a phenomenal way to support a young quarterback. They did
Yes.
not. At the end of the day, the Broncos have not had a really, really good running back in a long time. I think this is a guy that can come in, be the face of your franchise, put the team on his back, can do everything you need him to. And just a guy that I think can really, really help that offense, adding another weapon, taking something off of Bo Nix's shoulders. And I think that defense is good enough already. However, adding to it would be great. I think going out and getting a real weapon in Omarion Hampton is just too good of a pick to pass up here. So,
Agreed. Yeah, that's a really
Yeah, Kenneth Grant would be very interesting. I know they just re-signed DJ Jones, but he is 30. Their
Yeah.
defensive line was nasty last year.
yeah.
But is it to the point where we're drafting where we feel like we can stash a guy so you
right.
can
Well,
be a
they're all free
replacement?
agents after next season too.
Okay. But I
Or
do
for the
like
next
Hampton
two.
because you looked at it like we've brought majority of this defense back. Like we need Bo Nix to have somebody else back there with them in the backfield, especially with them running the ball like they did in the playoffs on some questionable downs. Sean Payton. Pittsburgh Steelers here at 21. Now, for me, this is just between two guys, maybe even a third. Now that I think about it, does Nick Emmanwori get some love here from the Steelers because of the
Good.
combine, or do they look at it like no matter who we bring in at quarterback, we need to address a tackle position? And at that point, I think the conversation turns to Josh Simmons and Kelvin Banks Jr. And I look at Simmons as more as the surefire tackle. I think
100%.
Banks could potentially get kicked inside, and if that's the case, you don't draft him, Pittsburgh. But I'm going to go Josh Simmons. I like him. The health being as good as it sounded like it is big time for him because it was the injury concern, and he can play both sides of tackle on the offensive line, and he did it at Ohio State at an elite level. So with the health checked out, I think he's a lock for a first-round pick, and the Pittsburgh Steelers say, hey, we'll take a left or right side guy for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think that's a very good
Even
pick. Josh
Warren would
Simmons.
at least be interesting, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Josh Simmons, really solid as a tackle. Looked really good last year before getting hurt. Sounds like he's on track to be good to go too, which is huge because he's one of those guys that's super athletic and really does rely on that too. He's not much of a ground and pound, slow moving offensive lineman. He's a guy who's going to beat you to the spot, and that's how he wins. So him being injured is obviously detrimental, but if he's getting clean bills of health and you get him to 21, you might have just locked up your left tackle spot for the next 15 years for the low cost of pick 21. That's a great potential huge steal. Chargers on the clock here. Wide receiver, tight end, D-line. I know Chargers fans are like, oh, he's going to go with either Kenneth Grant or Colston Loveland. And I might. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking
That's
about
what I'm
it.
gonna do.
You
I
got
mean,
me.
if
I'm
Kenneth
thinking about
Grant
it.
falls to them, like I know the Michigan, all that BS, but this is a really good player.
Yeah, how do you not go Kenneth Grant? I
I'm
want
not
to be
trying to
different.
force you to pick him. Not trying to force you to pick.
No.
my
I know.
Michigan
I'm
man.
trying to like talk myself into Mykel Williams. Oh, he's a Jim Harbaugh type. He's a run defending edge rusher. They lost Joey Bosa. They still have Khalil Mack, but who do you have after them? You know, the edge room is thin after them. So I can see that.
It
But
is.
Kenneth Grant is a freak. He's an absolute freak. And the way the board is falling, I think you can get the high-end defensive tackle here and then swing on one of the edge rushers in round 2. It's just a deeper position, I mean, potentially. I know there's a lot of good D tackles too. You know, Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan, all still there. Kenneth Grant. A lot of talent on the defensive line, man. This is a good year to need defensive linemen.
Yeah, it really is.
Just give me the Michigan freak. I'm going to do it. You were right, Chargers fans. You got me. I'm going to go Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. He's just too good to pass here. He shouldn't be available. And the fact that he is, you don't think Harbaugh's going to be like, come on, let's do this.
Come on home.
Yep, give me Kenneth Grant at 22.
Love the pick. Packers on the clock here. I know been a lot of talk up here in Wisconsin about them needing a wideout. I hate to break your heart, but I don't think Emeka Egbuka is that guy. I don't think he can be the guy that they're looking for him to be. Right now, they got a lot of good players, but don't have an absolute stud out there. So I think at this point, wide receiver Matthew Golden doesn't do it for me. So going to be addressing another premium position. Just an interesting guy to me in general, but give me Shemar Stewart, edge out of Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I think this is a guy that they'll love to take a
That's
swing
it.
on, a guy with a really high ceiling. So I think Packers need a difference maker coming off the edge, and I think this is a guy that can hopefully do it for him. So
Yeah. Crazy good run defender, too. He did play heavy. I mean, he's still listed at his Texas A&M weight, which was 290, and he tested at 267, which is crazy.
I hope he plays at 267 too.
It'll be very fun to watch what he does when he sheds the weight and he plays it or stays at like 270 range as a really good run defender with freaky intangibles. I mean, a 10 relative athletic score is number 1 ever. I mean, it's the best you can possibly have. I do think that feels like a Green Bay Packer player. Like the name Shemar Stewart feels like a Green Bay edge rusher. I don't know why. It just does.
Yeah, I hope they draft him and he sucks. So that would take the guy that didn't produce. Woo!
Yep.
And
2 sacks a
him,
year.
watch him turn to be a freak.
And Ness.
Yeah, Van Ness, he sucks. Yikes! They flop on a couple first picks in a row. What? First rounders flops? Who knows? Anyway, moving on to another team I love to hate. The Minnesota Vikings at pick number 24 here. I think Hampton going before them. Just a little sad, you know. He definitely would have been an interesting piece here to add to that backfield. Now this is a tough one for me because there's a bunch of these interior defensive linemen, these D tackles right here looking at me in the face.
Yep.
But Nick Emmanwori is a freak, and they lost Cam Bynum to the Colts. So I'm doing it. And Vikings fans, be pissed at me all you want, but I'm going to take the combine darling Nick Emmanwori to the Minnesota Vikings at number 24. Lose a freak, ball hawk, and Cam Bynum. You try to replace it with an absolute insane athlete in Emmanwori and let Brian Flores mold this guy into a safety. At the end of the day, you might have brought back Harrison Smith, who's 50, but he's eventually going to walk out of the door and not come back. But Nick Emmanwori will come back for multiple years. And again, it's Flores getting to pretty much mold this guy into whatever player he wants. And he's a freak athlete. Flores would be grinning ear to ear if they take Nick Emmanwori.
He would be so much fun Flores could use him so many different ways. And I think too, this is something, didn't they take Louis Cine a couple of years ago as well? And he didn't end up working out, and then Bynum played over him. I think once again, you're right. Smith's going to stop playing at some point. This would be a great guy, bring in certain packages, use him as needed as a early guy, really let him develop. And then as soon as Smith's gone, this is a guy that can step in and be a absolute freak of nature difference maker. I think he is a ball hawk as well. The ball skills are there. And just overall a guy that the ceiling is just isn't really a ceiling for him.
This is the pick right here where it's like we're really drafting this guy because we see what he could be.
For sure.
We see a superstar
and like just pulling up like PFF's advanced analytics on here, and I'm sure everyone will see me looking at one in particular, but his missed tackle rate 7%, which is
That's
the top.
phenomenal.
That is elite. That is exactly what you want in a Brian Flores defense, because there's going to be multiple times where it's him versus the ball carrier, and if he loses, it's a touchdown. And nobody was better at winning those matchups than Nick Emmanwori. So if Vikings fans are mad, I don't understand why, because that's a Brian Flores safety right there.
Flame me all you want, man. I'm trying to help you out. I'm a Bears fan trying to help you.
He could be a linebacker as well. He's got that good enough size, just an elite athlete. So I love the pick there. Huge upside.
Agreed. Reminds me a little bit of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah a few years ago, where it's like safety, linebacker, hybrid. I could see Nick Emmanwori doing stuff like that too. Houston on the clock here, and this is the fastest pick I'm going to make all day. It's Kelvin Banks Jr. Oh, shit. It auto-drafted for LA. We'll just ignore that. But for Houston, what are we doing at the offensive line position? You have one good offensive lineman and 4 bad ones, and your decision is to trade the one good one. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Good call. What are we doing? Stupid. Kelvin Banks, thank you very much.
They've ripped apart a bad offensive line, which is good, right? But like you said, got rid of maybe your one piece that could have stayed around, and then you haven't replaced this shithole with really anything else. So it's like we took away some bad, but what have we really replaced it with?
Right.
I think a offensive lineman is almost guaranteed unless they all get taken. But at that point, Houston's on the phone saying we're trading up.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, love the pick. They need as much line help as they can get. And I think this is a relatively easy pick for me for the Rams, a guy that with Matt Stafford coming back, you just got to continue to add. Devontae, I know, is going to be amazing with them. Give me Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. I think adding to that room, giving Matt Stafford another reliable guy over the middle. That defensive line is very young with the 2 Florida State boys coming out last year. And it's just, I think the defense is going to continue to get better. But at the end of the day, I think Colston Loveland, depending on the team, could almost have him close, if not above Tyler Warren. Just really depends on what you're looking for out of a tight end. And I think this guy would fit in beautifully with Matthew Stafford. And even regardless, whoever your QB is going forward is going to love to have him. He's going to be a security blanket over the middle. So.
Yep. So for those of you at home watching and wondering why does Nate have Derek Harmon for LA, it's because I fat fingered it or something. I don't know. But Colston Loveland to LA is a great pick, in my opinion. I would love that connection.
So you're telling me I should take Derek Harmon right here just to make it really easy for you?
Only if you wanted to. If you wanted to.
I think this one is a shoe-in at this point. I think Tyler Booker from Alabama, offensive guard, comes in and helps protect Lamar immediately. This guy will be a day 1 starter. I don't care that he didn't look super athletic or whatever at the combine.
Don't care.
The man's going to be elite, and Detroit fans maybe let out a little bit of a cry just because he could have been a day 1 starter on their line as well. But give me Tyler Booker getting in the first round as the best true guard in the draft to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah. Man, you're right. That was probably
him going to the Colts at 14, as crazy as that is. I could see him going to the Colts at 14.
I'll just say this. Daniel Jeremiah had him as 10, had him at 10 almost, like I think in one of his first mocks, and it's like I was like, what the hell? And then I sort of realized, okay, over the time of looking at this guy, maybe he actually could be that worthy.
Yeah, Booker's actually awesome. He is mean, man. He is mean in the run game. Like, he's just gonna move you, and that's that. Like, you don't have a choice. He's really damn good. I would have absolutely taken him for Detroit here, but I'm tempted now to go with Mykel Williams. I feel like you need an edge rusher in Detroit still, right? They just got Aiden Hutchinson coming back from injury. Not a whole lot to speak of there in the edge rusher room.
Yeah, they let go of Smith.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm going to go Mykel Williams and just go with the toolsy guy out in Detroit. I like I said earlier, a great run defender, needs some upside work in the pass rush, but he has all of the versatility you could want. He's young. He's not even 21 years old yet. His like it says on here as I'm reading this, his floor as an elite run defender is super high. I think it's worth taking a chance on him and thinking I can mold him into being an even better player when I include his pass rush ability. So we'll go Mykel Williams there at 28.
Love the pick. You could have taken a linebacker, but they just signed Grant Stewart from the Colts. Absolute special teams demon, by the way. Best hair in the NFL. You will see him coming down on special teams. Lions fan, you're lucky to have him. Great story if you get time. Look it up. Just a phenomenal story on the guy. But Washington Commanders on the clock here. A few different ways that I think they could go. I don't really like a lot of the edge rushers that are still left here. Could see them going with the cornerback. Siobhan Ravel's a guy that I really like, but give me Gray Zabel, a guy that I think is a very flexible lineman for him. They need some, at the end of the day, their main goal going forward should be keeping their quarterback upright. And I think Gray Zabel's a guy that can do that. Getting Laramie Tunsil already, phenomenal ad. Getting Debo, you're doing the right things. Just keep adding to that. And I think this is a guy that gives you a ton of position flexibility as well, which at the end of the day is one of the most important. Like it's huge for a player. Just make sure you see the field more often than not. So absolutely love him coming out of North Dakota State. So
Yep. Love the versatility he brings, man. He could play all over that offensive line for them. And you put him in at left guard right next to Laramie Tunsil, and you've got yourself a left side of the offensive line.
Yeah.
So that's a great pick.
On to the Buffalo Bills here at 30. Signing Joshua Palmer. I like that sign. I mean, he's a good player, and it's just another weapon for Josh Allen to potentially elevate. I think
Joey
receiver
Bosa.
could still be, Joey Bosa as well. And does that negate edge need? I mean, they replaced an old edge with an old edge.
Yeah.
I think if these receivers are both here, even if it's not a need, they're at least talking about it heavy in the war room with
Absolutely.
Egbuka and Golden both being there. Tough.
Yeah.
Tough. I'm gonna do what I think they should do in this
Okay.
scenario. If these players are here, I'm taking Matthew Golden. I'm doing it. I'm taking the man that ran the fastest 40. We're not going to let the Kansas City Chiefs, even though they wouldn't take him. We're not letting them take the fastest guy yet again. So give me the Buffalo Bills getting a speedy receiver that shows big upside for Josh Allen. And I will take that. A guy to go catch those deep balls. Give me Golden. It might not be the prettiest pick, might not be what Buffalo wants, but I think those guys falling, Egbuka and Golden, and I like Golden just a little bit better just because of that speed.
Yeah. Freak athlete. Tested way faster than I had any idea he was going to do. That shocked me, truthfully. We've got Chiefs on the clock here, and I'm between two dudes. It's either Walter Nolan or it's Josh Connerly Jr.
Between two dudes. Hey, yo.
Yeah, that's where the Chiefs are, man, not me. That's just where the Chiefs find themselves on this Friday night. Pick between two dudes, Walter Nolan and Josh Connerly. I do not want to be between those two dudes.
Never. No.
Those are big boys, you know what I mean? But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Josh Connerly because he'd probably be more gentle. We'll go Josh Connerly Jr.
Pass pro you to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. He's got quick movements. That's what we're about around here. We'll go Josh Connerly Jr. You need a tackle. You need a guard, too, after trading away Joe Tooney. But we'll go ahead and go with Josh Connerly Jr. to play left tackle going forward for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I just want to say sorry, Chiefs fans, because we've been pretty serious up until your pick.
Yeah.
So really sorry if you skip just to this and hear this. Go back and watch the other picks. We sound normal. Yeah, that one was that's on me. That's on me, Chiefs. Yeah, that's on me.
Fair enough. Well, Eagles on the clock. I think there are a few ways they can go. I'd love to hear what Eagles fans have to think. I know bringing a lot of guys
they will
back.
let you know.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, I love it. Sirianni ex Colt. So at the end of the day, though, Darius Slay's gone, James Bradbury's gone, Isaiah Rodgers is gone. You have two great young corners. Let's just add to that room. Let's just get better there. There's three guys here, but a guy that I love the attitude, and he reminds me of what Philly means. Maxwell Harrison, corner out of Kentucky. This guy is confident. He believes he can beat anyone. I think that dog mentality would fit in perfectly with this defense. Add him to DeJean and Guantanamo Bay. Just absolutely love the pick there. And like I said, you need the depth. Three guys leaving. At the end of the day, someone's gotta play. And I think this is a guy that you can bring in and you can feel confident about your corners for the next 10 years. So
yeah, I like that pick a lot. I am interested to hear what Philly fans think about that. Because, yeah, Bradbury and Slay are gone. You got Cooper DeJean, and you do have, obviously.
Isaiah Rodgers is gone, too, another guy.
Right, you need another corner. You really do. And I know that they're going to want Walter Nolan there, and there's Darius Alexander. But I like the pick of Maxwell Harrison, man. I really do.
Vic loves his nickel, man. Vic loves his nickel to run on that defense. And I really like Harrison from Kentucky. And as obviously every team, you know, one injury, but one of those two corners get hurt, and then your corner room is all of a sudden one really good second-year player.
Yeah,
And I think
very
there's a
honest.
ton
I
of depth
love-
at interior D line as well. A ton of it. You can come back and
There
get
is.
an Omar, anyone, Omar, Norman Lott, any of those guys.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
I mean, there's 3 on the board right now. Hey.
Hey, there you go. So that is it for this mock draft. That is first round. For those of you watching the screen, obviously the only mistake here, you see Derek Harmon. That is not the pick for the Rams. It is Colston Loveland. Please, please, please do not yell at me in the comments. I can already hear it now. Someone's going to skip to the end and be like, oh my God, the Rams do not need a defensive lineman. What were you thinking? And I'm going to cry. I wish you guys wouldn't do that.
I'm gonna comment that.
That's what we've got. Addison's going to be from Addison Opal. He'll be like, I'll never know. Alrighty, that's all we've got for you guys for today's mock draft. Make sure you guys stay tuned as we start releasing our positional ranking videos coming out in the next week or so. We'll go position by position and give you top 10, top 5, top 10 guys at each position in this upcoming draft. On top of more free agency videos coming out soon, so make sure you guys stay tuned for all that. And if you're not already subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. This is where you want to get your information from, okay? We do all the work so you don't have to. You're welcome. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.